We are starting studies for a few weeks on a subject which is generally called a Christian worldview. What is a Christian worldview and how to live according to the Christian worldview? It's not a complicated or difficult subject to learn in any way. However, whether it is interesting to a person or not depends a whole lot on how that person views these things. This is very, very important subject for all theologians and all apologists, because what makes a person to differ from another person is not much of his color or race or language or even culture or his lifestyle or living circumstances. What makes a person to differ from another person is his worldview. We are living in the world every day. We are doing a number of things. Some are religious, some are non-religious. Eating and drinking, dressing and going to work, meeting people, talking with people, handling money. We have many, many mundane, works that we do. Some are interested in some things. Some people do some things only out of necessity. Some people do some things out of interest. Whether a person is aware of worldview or not, everybody has a worldview. He may not be able to say in specific words what is his worldview, but if anybody is living in this world, he has a worldview. Every believer or non-believer. Without a worldview, you just cannot live in this world. If you live without a worldview, that is your worldview. That's your worldview. So, what actually makes them different? Difference could be ascribed to a number of factors. People usually say it's his situation, it's his faith, it's his ethics, it's his lifestyle. What awareness a person has as to who he is. You may think much about yourself. You may think you are a good person or not so good person, a smart person or not so smart person, better than the other person. Everybody has a personal viewpoint. We appraise ourselves because we make ourselves the object of our study. I am the subject who study me. And as a result of that study, I come to certain conclusions. And those conclusions are very, very important. And interestingly, what conclusions I make about me, what inferences I make upon my life, they are very much related to my worldview. Yes. So it cannot be, avoided. Two people living in the same neighborhood, attending the same church, worshipping the same God, buying provisions from the same shop, working in the same establishment, clothing the same way, but they are different. They are different. Yes. Even two brothers or siblings brought up by the same parents, more or less the same way, they turn out to be entirely different, because somewhere as they grow up, they develop a different worldview. That's the reason. They develop a different worldview. That makes the difference. So they respond differently to sickness, money, marriage, ethics, problems in life. Why? If they have the same worldview, they basically will respond the same way. But people respond differently. Husband and wife respond differently. Some get frustrated, some do not get frustrated. Whatever problems come, some are very happy. They smile at problems. They look at problems, they challenge problems. Some like to run away from problems, Yes, what makes these differences? Some get disappointed, frustrated, and they may have depression. The more problem comes, one becomes more bold, more outspoken, more courageous. So what difference makes? It's all related to what we call the, worldview. How we view things. Yes. So there must be deeper fundamental reasons, in this worldview. The way you think about any subject maybe may not be the way I think about the same subject. Take anything, money, how you view money, friends, how you view friends, food, all these things are different. It's not only individuals, but families. They have a worldview, family worldview. Societies have societal worldviews. Nations may have even national worldview. Even continents different. You walk to Europe, for example. You go to Africa. The people in Africa see things quite different from the people in Europe. Everything, the relations and everything, the whole social values and makeup are different. It's not their color that makes the difference. It's not the color. Black people living in Europe for centuries, they think like any other European. Indians living in America for centuries think like any American. So there is that difference, Yes. I talking with many of my relations living in America, sometimes I find it's very difficult to understand them because their worldview is different. I sometimes surprised that why you think like that. That's not the right way of thinking. And they say the same thing, Proposing marriage to some of our relations living in America, for example, they have been born and brought up there. You propose a marriage, they laugh. What is it? Buying a cow or something? They just cannot think of you going and seeing a girl and talking her for half an hour and say that I like her. What do you like her? What do you know about her? It's like going and buying a cow from the market, So, the worldview is different. The whole concept of marriage is different. The relationships, everything is different. So, it's very deep rooted. The worldview is very, very deep rooted. Yes. So the behaviors differ because of our worldview. The Germans used to call Weltanschauung. That's a worldview. So that it's your Weltanschauung that makes you different from other people. Yes. So what is your Weltanschauung? That's a very technical word for worldview. How you see things. What's your basic philosophy of looking at? What glasses you put on to look at things, basically. Everyone must have a glass. You see things by the glasses you put on. That's your worldview. Worldview, often it's created by our society, our family, our teachers, sometimes by our reading, and different factors, but everybody has a worldview. It is true that not all people are aware of the fundamental differences of this thinking. Not everybody is. They cannot propositionally state the difference of their, thinking from another person's thinking, but the result they will say. Why a person loves money so much? Everything he does is decided by this money. Everything. While some other person, money has no value in his life. True, he needs money, but he doesn't love money. It's a whole big difference. That's worldview. Someone said that some people are like the fish that does not recognize the existence of water, or like the birds that does not recognize the existence of air, but they live in that environment. They know the importance of water only when the fish is taken out of it. That As long as the fish is in the water, they don't think about the water. We become aware of our worldview when it is challenged. We are taken to another worldview where predominantly people are all of that worldview, and then we begin to feel the conflict. My worldview is under challenge here. Everything I think and everything I say, they say, wow, how could you do that? How could you do that? How could you do that? And we also become very critical about them. What sort of people they are? Look, their worldview is different. When we are with people where many people share the same worldview, we don't feel that difference. You go to this, some call the cultural shock, some call, what is this cultural shock means? What is a cultural shock? It is this, your worldview is different. Your worldview is different. Some people are totally insensitive to the values of life certain society is following. Totally insensitive. They just say, I just cannot understand. I just cannot understand. Children living, born and brought up in America, our own children, and others, I have seen that, by God's grace, our children don't have this problem. But I have seen they come here with a great excitement. In 2-3 days, they say, we want to go back. We want to go back. We want to go back. They say, why? People are dirty. People are dirty, environment is dirty, there are cockroaches there, and this house lizards are there, flies are everywhere. While here people, they cannot live without flies and lizards and all what they call dirty, we don't feel dirty at all. I say, what are you talking about? Where is dirty? That sort of, because they grew up in a different environment. It's not simply, their thinking is changed. They see certain things bad and certain things good, while we don't call what they call bad. That's part of our life. So we don't see. We go into a restaurant and they bring in water. The man may be holding the glass, maybe one of the fingers inside the water, but that's expected here. And very seldom people say, take this water away, because there's no use, because the other times he brings 2 fingers with me. I once went into a hotel and restaurant, and I know that it's in Tamil Nadu, and nothing against Tamil people, they are as good as any other people. But the boys brought in water with fingers in, so I said, I want real boiling water. Real boiling water, because I know that they won't put the fingers in boiling water. So don't mix anything, just bring real. So he brought in, and then he took another glass and he poured it, and then he put his fingers and said, now you can drink it. So I was looking what he was going to do, So that's just normal for him. But you do something like that before an American or European, he said, now you can drink it. You can see the dirt, in his hand going down like that. That's no problem. That's no problem in our society, because we are programmed to accept certain things as norm. So in the moral areas also, somebody say a lie doesn't bother most of the people in India. That's part of our life. Can you live without saying lies here? It's part of our life. People say lies, or a lot of lies, they say. We get upset only when that lie is going to affect us, hurt us, cause us monetary losses for us or something. But as long as it is a white lie, it doesn't hurt anybody. You had lunch? Oh yes, I had lunch. You didn't have lunch. Why you said you had lunch? Because you don't want it to cause problem for the people, because they had their lunch, he knows that he came late. So, if you say I didn't have lunch, then they have to go and prepare something. So what they do? Oh yeah, I had lunch. I had something. Yeah, just to say he had lunch, he may have eat something, somewhere. Maybe a packet of Lays or something. Then he said, is that really lunch? No, but you know that. Oh, that we know, we don't think that, he said a big lie. Somebody said that, well, this brother should not be allowed to participate in the Lord's Supper because he said a lie. I asked him whether he had lunch and he said lunch, but I know that he didn't have lunch. He only had some packet of Lays. Well, this is the way it is. Going late, going late was no problem to meeting and anywhere else. Office 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, or church half an hour late, going ever early, but they are very unethical in certain societies. You can just watch there, 10 o'clock meetings, 9:55, nobody there. Between 9:55 and 9:58, everybody is there. Shoot, middle there, all people there, nobody late. That's their culture. It's all a lifestyle. It's part of that well-tension, Because punctuality is, they cannot think without punctuality. Assignments will be handed over in time. I remember seminar, before the class starts, as soon as you come, if the assignment is not on the table, when the professor comes in, he will not accept it. Then, that's the first 5 minutes, only all assignments will be accepted, no other assignments. Very strict, very strict. So they are very strict. So that's kind of their, that's part of their, worldview, because punctuality, truthfulness, such are virtues of life. They cannot think without those things. If they find out that you said a lie, man, you will lose your, you will be dismissed whether from your job or from everywhere. Because they don't expect a gentleman will lie. So here if you don't say a lie, and because anybody asks you something, they know that, what are serious lies and what are white lies, and so that's the way it is. So worldview is very, very important. Indian has his own worldview, a Malayali has his own worldview, a Tamilian has his own worldview. So it may be observed without exaggeration that the majority of the people living on earth today are not either aware of the values of life or are not concerned about the values of life. Of course, they have their own value of life, which often is eat, drink and die. That's the way, In the last 50 years, the worldview, the Weltanschauung has changed tremendously. Tremendously. Lot of the basic fundamental values have changed. Europe has become post-Christian continent. Europe is no more a Christian continent, it's a post-Christian continent. You talk to anybody in Europe today, it's different. I met a lady from Netherlands in the train. She's in her 40s. So I was talking with her, I asked her, she said she's from the Netherlands, and I said that, one of my favorite theologians is Abraham Kuyper, who was the president of Netherlands. So I said, yes, in Netherlands, one of my favorite theologians was your friend. She said, who? I said, Abraham Kuyper. Oh, there was a president like that in Netherlands? I said, you don't know the history? No, I don't read any history. Oh, well, that's very strange. And I said, you married? I said, married? No, in our country nobody marries. So your parents? No, they have been living together now for many, many years, 60 some years. They are not married. Yeah. And, we just like, we come and live. If we don't like, we just separate. That's it. So you have read Bible? No, I never read Bible. So that's strange. The most sold book in the world, the book that has influenced and changed cultures, people, you have never read it? No, she said, no. But you come here, I came here to take yoga lessons. All the way, see the change? Europe is a post-Christian. So today you go to Europe, you cannot, if you have visited Europe, and 50 years back, of course, there's nobody who visited 50 years back, the Weltanschauung has changed completely. Yes. The language, the outlook on life, everything has changed. Every word takes a different meaning. It's a new age ethics, the new age metaphysics, the new age everything. With that one, it's all changed. So this is, but a genuine Christian, both desires to, to know and to live by a Christian worldview, a genuine Christian. I'm not talking about somebody from the Christendom, but a genuine Christian. He wants to know what is the worldview. A genuine parents would like to establish a genuine, correct Christian worldview in their children. Yes, genuine Christian worldview in their children. That's what they want. And if you don't do that one, the world will establish a secular worldview. That will be quite detrimental to that child's future life. Because he will first be confused, because there they teach one worldview. At home you try to say a different worldview, so which is the correct worldview? So so we wanted to definitely understand what is the correct Christian worldview, so that we will live and we will teach. Yes. We want our children to live intelligently and responsibly, knowing that there are values and goals for life, and that there are appointed ways to achieve the goals of life. Everything we must look at: money, marriage, sexual relations, employment, politics, economics, law, sociology, psychology, theology, religion, everything, every aspect of life. We wanted to see them with the lens of the Christian worldview, the biblical worldview. They all look different when you look them through the Bible, Everyone lives according to what he believes about God, man, life after death, etc. The atheist, the agnostics, the theist, the deist, the polytheist, the pantheist, the panentheist, the communist, the rationalist, the empiricist, the hedonist, the utilitarianist, the Epicureanist, the Buddhist, the Hindus, the Jains, the Muslims, and the true Christians. All live differently and according to their beliefs. What do the atheists, think about? The atheists say there is no God. So his worldview is quite different. If there is no God, the world is the result of an accident. The evolution, whatever he uses. Something that has come by an accident cannot have any definite design or purpose in life. So you have a lot more freedom to live. The atheist finds a lot more freedom to live the way he wants. Because he doesn't have to be afraid of a future punishment or anything. There is nothing beyond life. Life in itself is an accident, There is no cause-effect relationship. No, there is nothing. And agnostics, what he will say? He will say, we don't know whether there is God. Nobody knows whether there is a God. So practically you live as if there is no God. If there is no God, he will take care of himself. You don't have to worry about God. The atheist will say there is no God, there is no God. Agnostics will say, what God? Who knows? Ignore him. If he is there, he will take care of his matter. He doesn't need our help. And we don't need his help. So the theist, on the other hand, what he will say, especially the monotheist, there is one God who has created everything. He created man in his image. He holds him accountable for every action. Man is not an accident here. He is placed here for a purpose. He has to finish the purpose. There is accountability. There is a life after death. And everything we do in this life, everything we say, it's going to be, in detail, going to be examined there. So a theist lives entirely differently than a theist. Yes, So the deists are the people who say there is God, but he is not interested in the affairs of the world. He retired, he is sleeping. He is sleeping. Our former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, they were all, deists. For popular vote and all, they may go to temple and all. They never believed, They believe there is God and God created this universe, but like a clock, the old clock, he winded it up and now it is unwinding. It's keep on unwinding until, God is not interested in this world. He doesn't come. There is no revelation. There is no intervening of God. He made it. He fixed natural laws to govern it, whether the law of gravity, thermodynamics, and etc., etc. He retired. He is somewhere taking a siesta, Yeah, that's it. So a deist will live quite differently from a theist, naturally. But he will not say there is no God. He said there is God, but he is not interested in our affairs, He is not interested. And then there is a polytheist. Polytheists are people who say there are many, like polyclinic, who deal with many sicknesses and, many branches of medicine, Here is a polytheist, many gods. Oh, there are hundreds and thousands of gods, big gods, small gods, good gods and bad gods. They will be fighting each other. You can pick your own God, which God you want. You want Shiva, Vishnu, which God you want. You can pick your God. You want Jesus Christ, you can pick him. Or you want some other God, you can pick him. Some gods are good, some gods are bad. You want a powerful God, then you go to Kali. You got the money God, then you go to Lakshmi. You got an educational God, then you go to Saraswati. You have different gods. You want. So they say that, they are polytheists, they have many gods. Then there is pantheist, everything is God. Everything is God. Nature and God are one. That's what pantheism teaches. There is only one essence, basically. That's, everything is an extension of God. This world, yourself, myself, we are all gods. We are all the part of God. So pantheists think that everything is God. They can have a rose flower and worship. Because rose flower, that's part of God. It's God's creation. You can see God in it. A stone you can have to worship God, or you can worship a man. It doesn't matter, because that's what pantheism believes. Then there are panentheists, who believes that God is in everything. In Malayalam there is a saying, that's what panentheists say, that God is in everything. The apple you eat, the water you drink, everything, it's God. There is God in everything, Then there is a communist, where for them, the matter is the ultimate, the matter. They're all Bhautikavadis, materialists, Matter is the final, Yes, in the beginning there was matter. Through evolution, the matter evolved. Then there is a rationalist. For them, your reason is the highest. Reason is the highest, the logical conclusions, So for them, God is the logic. Is it logically correct? Then accept it. It doesn't matter. They are the empiricists who go by experience. Everything. The empiricist. EMPIRICIST, empiricist. So they say that the five senses of man, they are the one who decides. Nothing is true if it cannot be experienced by the five senses. Nothing is true. If you cannot touch it, smell it, feel it, hear it, see it, it's not true. Reality is decided and governed by your senses. So that's what they say, that they're empiricists. So, their approach to the world will be different. Then there are the hedonists who say just, enjoy. Hedonism is that one, enjoy. Enjoyment is. There is only one thing ultimately, eat, drink and be merry, that kind of, that's all. Life is to enjoy anything, Whether it is food, whether it is sex, whether it is money, whatever it is, as long as you enjoy it, you do it. There is a lot of, I once tried to talk with one of my doctors, and he's in America, we